everyone, this is Endoralis Gaming here, and I'm speaking to you again about something I spoke about people before. Now, I remember correctly, I wasn't just doing video games and computer games and everything. I was also doing card games. And the one I'm talking to you today is called Force of Will. Now, Force of Will is the game that's all about using your will, or from these power stones, to summon forth creatures and beasts and spells and abilities to further your game. It's pretty much like pretty much every other card game, in which case that the person is doing this thing where they summon cards and they do the whole little beasts and spells and all that kind of stuff. So Force of Will is unlike other card games in that it has really good art, and it's not meant just for people who would be collectors or just for people who are like I guess a better way of saying it, just, you know, gamers for money. It's made for people who actually want to play the game and then just have fun with the game. So what they did is they made it where they reprint their like energy stones or their power stones every set. They have 4 sets in each cluster, and after that, you know, it's just their standard is you get to use the last 2 clusters. So in this case, it'd be the Alice and I think the Lapis cluster was the last ones. But yeah, so it'd be those 2. So what I wanted to tell you about, so the backstory for Force of Will is also like really like, I want to say, fun. It uses mythos from things that are already exaggerated and already talked about. So, you know, Japanese mythos, Chinese mythos, European mythos. It uses all those bits and pieces and stuff and all these fairy tales and all these things put together and then makes them a whole and then just runs with it. So what they tend to have is 4 or 5 different elements, you know, the fire, darkness, water, light, and wind. And then they have all those intermingled. They have this backstory for all these other main characters. Of course, you'll hear characters a lot that are well used. So there's Lancelot. You'll hear, you know, Knights of the Round and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I believe they even have Little Red Riding Hood and all that kind of stuff in there. It's much different. I think it's like Little Red fused with the wolf or something like that. But main point is why you should play Force of Will. Force of Will is made for people who want to play something like Magic, but want to play it for cheaper and have more fun with it and not be completely based off of this several $100 deck. I have myself made a pretty good deck based on the theme I thought up randomly while looking at it, and it is serviceable enough to play against even the harder to make decks way back in the day. I mean, I even defeated someone who apparently had a tier 1 deck, and let me tell you, it was pretty annoying. I just had enough smash to get through him. So hey, the Force of Wills basically take 3 games. You take Magic, because they have a mana system which is using power instead, and then you take Yu-Gi-Oh, and the fact that they have cards that do combat individually. So instead of you just attacking all at once and then, you know, blocking all at once, every combat is resolved individually. So that makes sure that the fight or whatever is relatively more controlled. There's a lot more skill involved in doing it, and that's why it ends up turning out a little bit better. And then you take like something like Pokemon, where everything has like an ability on the card on top of what they have that can be used based on you paying a certain amount. So they use a 1,000 system because unlike everywhere else in the world, you know, they use a 1,000 system because it's made in yen, and yen of course uses hundreds instead of 10. The other thing about it is that each card, instead of you having, you know, a certain amount of creatures or resonators in this game, it's called, your cards and deck are built more around this thing called your ruler or J ruler. Now imagine in Magic where you have commander decks. That's basically every guard. Every deck has a commander, and that is what you use to summon power. That's what you use to do you know, all these other types of things. That's what you use their powers for. You generally build your deck around your J ruler, because your ruler is the one who summons all these resonators to fight for them. And eventually, once you get so much power through your will, you can summon them to the field, and then they do all these crazy effects, and it's fun for everyone involved. And I mean, sure, they can be killed, and when they're killed, they come back, and you can still use the power. So it's, you know, it's very, very strategic of how you do it. But hey, if you're interested, like, subscribe, and comment in the comments below. I will probably be showing a how-to to play the game for people who just initiated into it. And hey, I'll even use my own deck to make sure that you don't see me playing around with some contrived deck to how to play. No, this will be completely pulled out of my buttocks and thrown at you, so that you can see how to make a deck that, hey, wins about half the time, it seems. I mean, I haven't really lost with it, but I assume that someone will eventually come up with a deck that can beat it. So this is Endoralis. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and may the Zen be with you.